Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Welcome back, folks. This is episode 155. We got a great host on today, a great guest on today. But before we get into that,
we do have some great hosts as well. But
we do that. We some great hosts, right?
I'm good, man. No complaints over here. All good. So how about you?
Same here, man. Yeah, same here. Making some good progress with Financial Fitness Challenge.
Yeah.
I like it because it's like, may not be like actual things to report, just that we're still progressing. So I like it. Keeps it top of mind. So that's cool.
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah. What about you?
Same thing. Just like making progress, paying stuff off.
Nice.
So just trying to do some cleanup, because that's part of financial fitness as well.
Yes.
Is cleaning that stuff up and just trying to get better and stuff for the future.
I don't know. That's the point. Progress, not perfection.
Yes, sir.
So what you got for us for payroll news today? I see something interesting here in the show notes.
So it's not really news. It's just really like a talking point, right? And
yeah,
like how military
news
pay
to somebody.
How military pay is structured.
Okay.
Versus civilian pay.
Okay.
And so I was thinking, like, man, like how would that work in the civilian world if for payroll, for instance, right? In the military, they pay you based on your rank and your years of service. So that there's a pay chart in the pay scale, and let's say you're an E5 and you have 10 years, you'll receive a certain amount.
Like, does the E mean anything? Because I know E5, you want the enlisted. Okay. So wait, if you're an officer, does that mean you're something?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so those are different categories that you may fall in, whether you're enlisted or whether you fall under the officer ranking as well. So those are different things that go into it versus, we may get paid based on our tenure in some situations, or our skill set, or whatever, our history
in real life.
Or
civilian life, not real life, civilian life.
So somebody can say, oh, hey, you have 20 years of experience. They may.
That's true. You're right. You're right. It doesn't always mean you're going to get paid with your worth.
Yeah.
Or at the end of the day, if you're working with somebody else, you're not getting paid with your worth if you're good at it.
Yeah.
But to market, that's a really good call out. Yeah, you're right.
So I just wanted to talk about those things and just say like how they like differ in a little bit. And there's more detail here. I don't want to draw it out, but maybe
do a whole episode.
I was just words out of my mouth. Like maybe that's something that we could do in the future. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, we know some other military folk. We have somebody else come on maybe and chit chat with us about it.
Use a rag. I feel like I'm preaching.
No, you good. You good. Look, most of our folks are listeners, not watchers, right? I don't know who watches. Even though YouTube is growing, they don't always know that we're on YouTube also. But we're on YouTube, folks, just so you know. If you want to see what we look like or see what's going on, see the big head crew.
Yeah. So what do you got for us, man?
Man, I saw this cartoon on LinkedIn, and forgive me, I forget who posted it, but it was like a cartoon that was like just a little black and white illustration, like in those old school newspaper cartoons or whatnot. And then somebody was like on the ledge about to jump. And then the payroll person came and said, wait, I need your time for your timesheet, or you didn't sign off on your timesheet, stuff like that. But it just got me thinking, wait a minute, death does play an impact in payroll, because there are times that you have to pay somebody post-mortem. And like, how does that play out? How does that work? What do you do for that? Like I harped on, what would you do in that situation where, heaven forbid, someone died before the pay period ended and they were hourly, and how would you finish their timesheet?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good question.
Right. Or even more dramatic, in the middle of a workday. So there was a punch in, but no punch out.
Yeah.
Like, how would you finish that timesheet? Yeah, you could go a couple of ways. Look, you give them the whole day, or would somebody get, I don't even know the right word,
Look, some companies may have a policy in place for that. But to your point, maybe a lot of companies don't really look.
Yeah, I've never. At the end of the day, I feel like most folks are just going to give that person the whole day. But what about if the payroll person actually witnessed the event and they were like, "Oh, it's 12 o'clock," and then fast forward a week later, come payroll, and they punched them out at 12 instead of giving them the whole day because no, that fool jumped at 12 o'clock. He didn't work until 1. Like how just the things that payroll person thinks of as they're scrolling on the that's all, because you do have to pay the estate sometimes, and there are pay, like I've had to pay the estate of someone
or
exactly, those things. So there is, we could probably do a whole episode on something like that and cover the basics on what you need to know and how you tie up loose ends for this person.
Look at that, both of us had 2 episode topics like that.
Boom, there you go. Yeah, and that was really it. Just, again, talking point type of situation, interesting call out.
Yeah,
let's pay the bills. If you're looking for an efficient way to manage employee time, look no further. Time Track Go is the solution. Time Track Go can turn your tablets into time clocks. And with its mobile app and web portal, employees can clock in from anywhere. You have options, but wait, it gets even better than that. Employees can do online digital PTO tracking. Automates the PTO. It simplifies the time off request, and it makes life easier for your managers, your HR team, your payroll team, yourself. So stop wasting time with them outdated systems.
Man, that is so awesome. Look, Time Track Go has a special offer for our It's About Payroll listeners right now. Right now, they are offering an additional 50% off your first 2 months. So just head over to www.timetrackgo.com/IAP. That's www.timetrackgo.com/IAP and start your 14-day free trial today so you can claim this special offer.
Let's go. Real quick, do you remember the call words for IAP? If you had to say it in military. IAP.
I know. I think it's Igloo, Alpha. Igloo, Alpha. I forget the P. Man. Been
out of the military. So I used to have it like at my desk printed out, and it's probably somewhere in here in my stacks. But because would you say B or P or D or B or D? And I used to be like Foxtrot, Roger that.
Yeah, I know it's different for some. Some people say Igloo. I'm looking it up now. So some people say India.
India, yes, that's the one I remember.
Alpha is A, and then Papa is P.
Papa? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. India, Alpha, Papa.
Yeah.
IAP.
Yeah.
Let's go. Yes. So we have a guest tonight, and let's get into it, right? Payroll isn't just local, it's global. And joining us today is a true force in the payroll industry. Her name is Kira Rubiano, and she's a highly respected name in global payroll. With over 17 years of experience, Kira has led complex payroll operations across Europe, Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia Pacific. She's not only a subject matter expert, but she's a mentor, a community leader, and a driving force behind streamlining payroll on a global scale. Currently with Payroll Minds as a partner, Kira's passion for international business and mentorship is shaping the next generation of global payroll professionals. Welcome to the show, Kira Rubiano.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Kira Rubiano. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
All right.
I didn't butcher it one bit, so thank you.
I tried. So always, we start everybody off with, what's your origin story? How'd you get into payroll? But not only that, why did you stay? Why do you love payroll?
That is the question, I guess, that every payroll professional thinks about a lot. I never studied payroll, never thought it was a career. Nobody mentioned it in college whatsoever. I like to blame my advisor for that one. I was actually...
They don't know.
They need to talk about these things.
That's what I'm thinking in my head. Wait a minute. We need to start going to some like these career fairs and colleges and stuff.
honestly, I never even thought about it. And like most people, you don't
Me
think
neither.
payroll. But at the end of the day, if all payroll professionals stopped working tomorrow,
Oh my gosh.
economies would cease to exist and we would have global anarchy. So
It would be a bad week.
we need payroll professionals. But I studied international relations and law in university, and I wanted to work for the United Nations. And that was my mission. However, that didn't quite turn out. By pure chance, while I was studying for law school, my now aunt-in-law was doing a manicure for Michelle Hanna-Michael, who was the founder of Celergo.
Ooh.
Yeah. And during the manicure session, Michelle mentioned to her that, look, I started this company and I'm really looking for recent college grad. Do you know anybody? My now aunt-in-law is like, of course I do. My nephew's girlfriend. Next thing I know, I get a call. Hey, would you be open to sending your resume? I said, okay, I don't even know what payroll is, but might as well try. And I was getting frustrated at that time because I was applying for internships and things like that. Well, I was frustrated with what am I going to do after I graduate? I'm studying law school. Next thing I know, Michelle's interviewing me, and I have a job 1 week out of college. And this was during the financial crisis. So
Wow.
I'm very grateful to have found a job. And I figured, you know what? I'd give it a try. All I wanted was to work globally and internationally. And that was my goal. I was like, I just want to work with people around the world and learn what makes the world work. First day I started, I got handed a Nigeria payroll.
Hey, this is Brent Skinner, host of Small Talk Window here at the Work Defined Podcasting Network. Have you ever wanted a short podcast to listen to during a coffee break of your workday? You've come to the right place. My guests dispense with the small talk as quickly as possible and settle into a meaningful conversation around the world of work.
I didn't even know really what payroll was at the time. This was over 17 years ago.
Oh my God.
I literally started from scratch. What's a net pay? What's a gross pay? What's a deduction? What is this tax? And it was the school of hard knocks. You learned by observing and by asking those around you in the office, full time in the office, hey, can you explain this to me, or what do I need to know? And this was before ChatGPT and all of these wonderful things. And a lot of stuff wasn't even available on the internet. So you really
I was just going to ask about that.
I found myself talking constantly to people around the world, just asking them to explain things to me. And that is how I got into payroll. So by chance, thanks to manicure, a little bit of yes, I'm forever grateful for my and I stayed because for me, I always tell people I'm not a numbers person. I don't, but I love learning and I love just communicating with people. I love language. I love travel. For me, I have 3 maps, 5 globes. I even have a tattoo of a map on my arm.
I love it.
It like gives me life. And now, having been a leader for many years with teams all over the world, getting time to spend with them and learning about their families and how they grew up and what they do is just pure joy for me. So that's what keeps me in it. It's for the love of just being able to work internationally and seeing people thrive and grow and be very proud of what they do. And passionate. I think every payroll professional, whether you're global or not, is proud of the work that they do and they want to succeed and they want to do a good job. And if I can help them uplift themselves and help them thrive, like that is the greatest reward. I always say, if you can take my job, I've done my job.
Wow. Woman after my own heart.
So for me, that's like the greatest thing because I was very fortunate to have had such good mentorship, especially from Michelle Hanna-Michael and to other leaders that now I just give back and that really keeps me going. And just making sure that people are learning and doing right by their employees.
Yeah.
So that was very long-winded.
No.
Triple.
Fill up space
That's right.
pretty quickly.
So now, what does global payroll really mean? For me, like we had Max. She's actually good friends with Max.
Yes.
And I told Max, I said, Max, global payroll is like multi-state payroll. What's the difference? And he's like, you're right, but the language barriers in some places. And I was like, ooh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Because multi-state in the U.S., everybody's speaking English. But your Nigerian team, how does that, like, how do you solve for the language barrier across the world?
Yeah. So there's a couple layers to that question. So I'm going to peel the onion
Yeah.
slowly. Global payroll, it has similarities to working across states in the sense of there's different laws in every single country. There's different mechanisms for like working. But when you look from country to country, the biggest differences is you actually get insight into how that country works. For example, like what we would call socialist states, right? They have higher taxes, like France or Sweden. They have higher taxes because more is provided to the population. And so they have way more types of social security schemes, health schemes, pension schemes. And every country has different types of schemes set up to take care of its people. And so it's not going to be the same from place to place. Some places don't have any sort of income tax. For example, in Singapore or UAE, you might just have social security. France have 40 different taxes and a bunch of taxes. So every country has different mechanisms set up to take care of its people. And depending where you are, some countries have high taxes, some have low, and there's a reason for that, right? Language is, of course, a barrier, but luckily in a very international and through globalization, a lot of people do speak English. So you will find a lot of payroll professionals around the world, and there's like very dense populations in certain countries of people who have payroll, even like U.S. payroll. And I have a team in the Philippines who knows U.S. payroll better than I do because they've been studying it and they've been working in it and they know English. The challenge comes in when you're dealing with like government authorities. In that case, some countries, for example, may require you to submit filings in person. And have a stamp, yes, particularly in continent of Africa.
How do you solve for that?
You need people on the ground.
Okay.
You need people who speak the language and who can actually physically. I had a case where people in Zimbabwe and somebody had to wait in line for 8 hours. I got income tax papers and get like a stamp.
So now, wait a minute. Is it like an agent that you get to contract out, or do they have to be an employee of? Okay, that's flexible.
Might have teams locally there, and so they designate someone to be that individual. Or yet you find a reputable firm who can actually work as your representative and agent and help you on your behalf to do that. And there are a lot of countries that have moved to like automated systems or filings. So like you approve the payroll, it goes into, I would say, the government portal, and then the government records it, and everything is tied out and reconciled. But then there's so many places where it's not like that. You still have those separate submissions, separate portal entries, physical documents. And as a global payroll practitioner, you have to recognize that and understand it, so that you don't make compliance mistakes, so that you're covered, that your agent team did everything that they were supposed to do to make sure that everything is paid on time, accurate, and compliant. And that can be a huge challenge for people because there's no one source book out there that will tell you in every single country what it is that you need to know. You only gain it through experience and working with trusted partners and advisors.
Wow.
But it's fun.
Is that sure?
There's days where I want to throw my laptop out the window because there's moments when you're just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? You might have a coup d'etat happening around and still got an earthquake and you still got to run payroll. Or there might be an electrical shutdown.
Wow.
Because just the power goes out in the country.
That's right.
We still have to get people paid. And that's the big difference. I think in the US, we don't experience as many disruptions either to our day-to-day, how we work as payroll professionals, aside from maybe situations or team situations. But when you enter the global realm, you have to be prepared for all sorts of things could happen. Yeah.
Wow. We won't take the next one.
I have so many stories.
Good,
Good, the bad, and the ugly.
Kara, in your opinion, what's changing you in global payroll? Like in regards to data privacy, real-time reporting requirements, maybe automation and AI.
Of course. So there's a couple aspects there. From a real-time reporting standpoint, more and more countries are moving towards that. And what I mean by that, it means, okay, payroll is processed in an engine. And once you hit approve or submit, that information again goes directly to the government authorities. And they have access to that information in real time. To unwind that becomes really hard. So if you make a mistake, to send a revision or an edit is really difficult. So it's once you be sure that's the final payroll. Of course, that opens up organizations to a lot more scrutiny, because once governments have access to that information more quickly and in real time, any issue, you definitely will hear about it. Rather than here, we still, in the US, we do filings like quarterly returns. You don't hear of a problem until
could be years later.
I was dealing with notices at one company coming in from 2021, and you're like, what? I didn't even know that this was a problem.
Yep.
I think the U.S. is actually still lagging behind a lot of countries in the speed to submission and then response in sort of issues. So we're definitely seeing more move toward that automated process and a reduction in touch points. I'll give you an example. In Brazil, they used to be like a ton of people to do, a ton, with thousands of data points that needed to go to the authorities. And they moved to something called eSocial. I would say, I think this was already 8 years ago, maybe 9. And with that, all you companies needed to do was do one submission, the eSocial submission, and all those data points went to all the different agencies that they needed to go. Now, to move into that, it took them like plus years just to get organized. But now it saved tons of administrative work. The headache on employers is decreased significantly, right? And it's made things better for the employees because the government is monitoring closely. Are people getting paid for wages? Well, yeah, people being compensated, employers reporting taxes and things like that. So we're definitely seeing a trend towards that globally. In terms of AI,
Of course.
and how is AI being used in payroll? There's a couple ways. One of which is a lot of companies are building their own, almost like AI agents or bots to help answer questions for employees. A couple companies who were building AI agents, for example, to explain a pay slip. Or just simple, where can I find my pay slip? Questions like that. AI helps a lot with reconciliation. Reconcile data. There are AI tools there that help you take inputs versus your outputs and see where the disconnect is. So you recognize, hey, John's salary is 500 here, John's salary is 300 here. A differential. It's a way to also leverage AI. Of course, in helping you, I use AI to find government websites quickly.
Llévate más de lo que esperas todos los días con el nuevo McValue en McDonald's. Ahora puedes comprar uno y sumarle otro por $1. Así que cuando tu equipo favorito enfrente a sus rivales, enfrenta tus antojos con $5 Meal Deals. Y si estás corriendo para alcanzar el desayuno, corre al app para llevarte ofertas antes del cutoff. Tú decides, y con McValue, tu decisión siempre rinde más. Precios y participación pueden variar. BOGO $1 válido para un producto de igual o menor valor. Debe estar registrado en Rewards para ofertas en el app.
Or if I need to just cross-check something and make sure, hey, is this correct? I use a tool, for example, called Perplexity that gives you the sources of where it's pulling the data, so you can go directly to that government link and then be able to see the information, because a lot of authorities have a lot of robust and abundant information
Yeah.
to them.
Dense websites. Yep.
Yeah, for research purposes, help with translation.
Ooh, it's a good one.
When I would work with anyone who speak English as fluently as would be needed for like business purposes, I would always write in English, and I still do, and then I would translate it into like Spanish or French or whatever it is. Now AI tools are way more robust with translation than they ever were. Calling somebody a donkey accidentally. You know, you a word or two. The other aspect is there's a lot of conversation right now building also AI agents who actually take care of processing stuff.
Yeah.
So they make sure that data is loaded. The fields are loaded.
Yes.
And there are no errors in your data fields.
Yeah.
Next bot, we need to proceed to process it. Are you ready?
That's what I'm talking about.
That is not far-fetched. I think there's still a lot to be unraveled there as it relates to data protection and how much personal compensation and employee data goes out into the world of AI. But that's definitely in the work. And I use it I see AI as a tool to help.
The tool, yeah.
And I always say work smarter, not harder.
Yep.
Because if there's ways that you can make your life easier so you can refocus your attention on value-added tasks and being more strategic as a professional, do it in a safe way. Of course, never put PII, like financial data, into the world of AI or the ChatGPTs of the world. But if it can help you with research, if it can help you with just doing an analysis, leverage it, because it's going to make your life easier.
Love it.
Hope I
Thanks,
understand.
man. No, you
Whoa,
definitely. Definitely. It says in your info that you take on mentoring. If you could mentor yourself and go back to your younger self and tell yourself something, what would you tell a younger self getting into global payroll?
So there's going to be some really hard days, but every problem has a solution. And as payroll professionals, we face a lot of problems every day. And instead of getting overwhelmed and stressed about it, I always just, as my adult self today, I take a deep breath and I say, okay, every problem has a solution. Just focus on the solution, not the problem. And I think that my younger self would have panicked, would have freaked out, would have probably even cried, broken down, dealing with some of the problems that we encounter as payroll professionals. Missed payments, people getting underpaid, overpaid, government authorities sending out notices, maybe an auditor knocking at the door saying you have 5 days to give me ABCD before we shut you down. And my younger self definitely would have really handled that in a different way. My older self, breathe. It's going to be okay. Every problem has a solution. Just focus on the solution. And at the end of the day, you're not fighting a war. You're not doing surgery.
Not saving lives.
You're taking care of payroll, which is important.
Yes.
But you're not out on a battlefield risking your life. You just have to take a deep breath and you'll figure it out.
Listen, I know that you are with Payroll Minds. Could you speak to that? How has that been? Have you learned a lot? Is it good to bounce other ideas between each other? Can you speak to that?
So Payroll Minds is unique in that it is a payroll consulting firm made up of payroll professionals. So every consultant that we have, which is over 40 consultants around the world, come from a payroll background. They've all lived it. They've all breathed it. They've all felt the pain. And they know how to process payroll and they know how to advise clients. Our job as a firm is to help solve problems, payroll problems, whether it is a company trying to decide what to do next in terms of their strategy and operations and how do they create more efficiency or where do they have gaps or risks, whether it is a company that said, yes, we want to go through a transformation, but we just need some help with the project management, with the advisory, we need a sounding board, or it's, oh my goodness, I have a payroll manager who's going on maternity leave for 6 months and I don't know what to do. See, there's someone who is experienced, it has payroll experience in those jurisdictions to help you get through that. And these are, like I said, Payroll Minds is a firm of payroll professionals. And so what's wonderful is that you have a SWAT team, really experienced individual who are there to help each other and say, hey, my client has this situation. What do you think? Or have you ever seen this before? Or, hey, I would love you to join this call because your insight could be valuable. And so we have this payroll SWAT team of great minds who are to really help and uplift each other. And my role in all of that is I am partner for Payroll Minds and have been brought in to lead the expansion of the U.S. And yeah, it's really exciting. It's been 2 months, but I have learned a lot and I just see the passion of everybody at the company, especially leadership and Bart, CEO and co-founder. And it really gets me excited. And after being in global payroll for 17 years and working with hundreds and hundreds of clients around the world, I felt that it was time for me as a professional to start helping others. I had been on the service side for so long. I have also been in operations for a long time. I felt like it was the right next chapter in my payroll journey. And I'm learning a lot because consulting is a different mindset. You're selling expertise. And so you are there to make sure that you are trusted and that you can solve the problem. And so it takes a particular mindset, which I'm definitely adjusting to and have adjusted to. And I'm building a team, which is really exciting. There's how much amazing talent there is, especially in the U.S. I'm meeting so many people as I interview individuals, and I'm like, what? You are so amazing. Can I take all of you? But I can't. I have to go slowly. But it's definitely exciting when you get to build something. And I think Payroll Minds has an incredible vision to be the go-to experts when it comes to payroll transformation, advisory, strategy, and support. And I think that's unique because a lot of consulting companies do a lot, but they don't necessarily hone in on a specific area. And we do, and I think there's great opportunity. It's amazing how many companies are looking to do something different. They realize that I'm calling it vintage at this point.
It's a good word. I like that.
It's vintage payroll processing, and I think it's time we stepped into the new era a little bit and see how we can create efficiency to business and tech.
Awesome. That's my last question for you. Is what would you like folks to know about your personal payroll brand?
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. So the personal brand that I have built is MindBody Payroll. And instead of the play, which is MindBody Spirit, the payroll took over that. Where does that come from? So I found that I was very stressed. Recent roles, right? Which was leading multinational teams around the world. I oversaw 112 countries from a payroll perspective. In my most recent role, thousands of employees. And I found that every month, as we're progressing towards payday, that the stress took over me. And I said, okay, I have to find ways to create peace for me because I'm not the only one going through this stress on a regular basis. And anyone who has been the payroll operations side and was responsible, don't you feel that? I don't know. It's like sometimes you dream about it. Sometimes, like in the shower, you're like, oh, yeah, did we miss the? Were you like in the mirrors? And so I found ways to help myself relax. And I then wanted to the payroll gospel, and in essence, with that, which is I give myself a moment throughout the day to just let my brain shut off. So I'll give a great example. Every single morning, I wake up a little bit early when my kids are still sleeping and my husband's sleeping, and I make coffee and I watch Love is Blind. I have to, because I know, or anything reality TV, 90 Day Fiancé, whatever it is, but anything reality TV. Why? Because I need to let my mind not go and right away think, okay, what's in my inbox?
What's the agenda?
Like decompress for that 30 minutes, watch a little something ridiculous, have my coffee, and then step into, that's just one example. The thing to do is I love to take walks. And so I'm very fortunate. I live next to a very beautiful area. Ironically, I live in a town with the word buffalo in it, but there's a lot in here. There's no buffalo that roam, but there's a lot of deer that roam. And I make it a point to, whenever I can, if there's space during my lunchtime or right after, to just go out there and just let myself be. And I try to encourage others. Also through just talking and like venting, I find that when you talk to people and say, look, I'm really stressed out, like, what should I do? That also helps. And so these little things have really helped me be more relaxed and at ease and at peace, and saying, okay, I need to prioritize this in my life so that I could be a better professional and
The BARF. Breaking news, acquisitions, research, funding. It's the week that was. It's a wonderful way to catch up on the week that was the week prior. Kind of a John Oliver-esque type of show. Ryan and I pitch each other's stories. We laugh. It's fun. You can watch it on YouTube, but you can also subscribe to the podcast. Give it a listen. Give it a look. Thanks.
Persons.
And one day I'll talk about the whole kids chaos that is in my house. That's for another episode. For me, MindBody Payroll basically means giving yourself grace. It means giving yourself space to be a little bit selfish with your time and say, you know what, I am going to watch Love is Blind. And maybe during lunchtime, I'm going to walk completely away, go outside, just walk away from this and sit down and have your lunch, take the hour.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be. I'm done with the days where I would just eat at my desk. I've told myself no more. I block my calendar and I step away, because you have to.
That's important.
Wow.
Sustainable. And so I really encourage people through my LinkedIn posts to take those moments, take breaths, give yourself grace, and forgive yourself. For taking time for you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. I think a lot of people, especially in payroll and HR, they're always keeping the fire burning and working late and putting in that extra time on the week, and in spite of their normal life. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course, my pleasure. And I would only do it if I wouldn't. I practice what I preach. And I've done those days. I've done all of that, like the countless hours, waking up at 3 a.m. to take a call with Timbuktu. And sometimes you have to do it, and that's okay. But it can't be something you do on the regular.
Yeah.
My therapist is trying to get me to work meditation into my work day or my day, period. And I told her, I was like, I'm having a hard time finding the time, because now I'm like trying to think of, wait, where do I have the time? And she said the same thing. She's like, wake up early, give yourself 30 minutes before the house gets up, and just find some peace, find some quiet, and let your mind roam and just meditate. So yeah, it's important, folks.
It's rough. Like, honestly, I get up at 5 a.m., but I could get up later if I wanted to, but I need that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I need my 30 minutes of reality TV and coffee. Like, no one is taking that away from me. Even
Love it.
5 hours of sleep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, we could go all day, but we can be mindful of time today, and hopefully we'll have you back. Have some ideas. Awesome. But before we let you go today, we would like to play this game called This or That, just to let folks get to know you beyond payroll. Well, do you want to take the first three? I'll take the last three.
Sure. All right. Say you can say either one, neither, or both. Right? All right. Well, the first one is: do you prefer reading a book in the park or riding a bike through the park?
Well, I would say reading a book.
Okay. All right. Would you prefer receiving an email or a phone call?
An email.
Email. All right. My last one. My last one. Ronaldo or Messi?
Ronaldo, because he's cuter.
I like that.
Okay.
It's just a taste thing.
We will all get to.
Exactly. Excel or Google Sheets?
Exactly.
Hanging out on a yacht or horseback riding?
Even though I can't swim.
It's
Childhood trauma really messed me up. Yeah, but I'll get on that. Yeah, as long as you have.
life jacket.
Yeah, I'm the one that like everyone makes fun of me because like my friends love to rent boats, and I have friends that have like pontoon boats, and I'm the only adult that sits there with a life jacket. So they all cracked up. I'm like, I'm not risking my life for you people.
That's
You can do what you want, but I'm gonna look cool with my life jacket.
Go.
last one. Would you rather be audited or do the auditing?
I'll take be audited because I'll be prepared.
I figured that. If someone told me you're going to be all right with that.
Yeah. Been through it enough.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. I audit my wife hates year end, like when tax time, because I do the books, get all the numbers together. And I'm like, all right, babe, here's where we spent too much. And I already know. Don't tell me. But it's a good exercise.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Walt's going to end it off with the quote of the day.
All right. So whatever you do, always give 100%, unless you're donating blood. By Bill Murray.
Lord,
Good
so fun. Thank you
I
so
love
much for keeping things lighthearted, for bringing a little comedy and I would say flavor.
I hope so. Thank you for saying.
Because
We appreciate it.
it's needed out there for sure. So thank you for that.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I heard a rumor that Max is going to come back with you maybe on another show.
You'll have to wait and see.
All right.
I'm just gonna, since I had to be on, I might as well plug this book in.
Thanks for bringing it up. Yeah.
I have my copy.
I got to order mine. I'm still reading Bart's. I was just in the middle of Bart's, and I got a bone to pick with Bart, though, because he said, like, I got to a point where he just references monthly payroll. And I was like, man, you got a whole month. We got weeks.
It's different. It's different in the
Different in the U.S.
That makes it more challenging. And it's so funny because right now I'm on a monthly payroll, like from a U.S. perspective. I've always been on semi-monthly or bi-weekly, and I'm like, listen,
Budgeting looks a whole lot different.
so much longer. You're like, I've now had to shift a little bit, but I'm okay as long as it's coming in.
Yeah.
But I know it's definitely an adjustment. Yeah, there's some amazing people out there doing some amazing things for the industry, and we just got to keep.
Yes. I love it. I love where it's going.
Got to spread the gospel.
Exactly. Spreads the gospel. I love it.
Please take it, use it.
Was actually a deacon in the church. So he's literally spreading everything out now.
Yeah.
It's not the parent.
Yes, I got this.
Awesome.
We can make it.
Well, yeah, let's do this. Until the
Let's
next
do
time,
that.
folks. We love you.
Someone.
Thank you for coming.
I get it. The podcast just isn't enough. That's all right. Head over to your favorite social app, search up Work Defined, WRK Defined, and connect with us.